Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Right, let me know, guys, if you guys can hear. Put in the comments, guys, if you guys can hear me, if the sound's coming well. So this is another Jum'ah, alhamdulillah, and again we're getting a bit used to this isolation, I think. So inshallah, let me just grab my iPad. Check out your comments so I can see without looking down. Okay, so how's the Jummah been where you guys are? Jummah been well? Okay, so alhamdulillah. Okay, you got questions straight away. MashaAllah. Alright, so alhamdulillah. So why is Ramadan on 2 days? So this all goes back down to the issue of how we observe Ramadan. In other words, do we follow a local sighting or can we follow an international sighting, a global sighting? There's an ikhtilaf from the days of the Sahaba. Tabi'in, you can say. There's an ikhtilaf there. So it's just a matter of which opinion you take. Wa alaikum assalam, the fun. Wa alaikum assalam, MP. Wa alaikum assalam, Harun Films. Alhamdulillah, Harun, I'm very good. Thank you very much for asking. Yeah, so Ramadan started. I don't know. Is the image clear? Is it clearer than before? Yeah, is it clear? Can you guys see? Right. So the reason why the image is more clear than before is because I'm testing a new camera here. So I borrowed this camera. This is a 4K camera, but I don't think I can stream in 4K. Yeah, I don't know how to stream in 4K because I think the image, the internet connection isn't strong enough to be able to take 4K. But anyway, this camera is a 4K camera, so it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to someone else. So I'm just testing it out. At the moment, let's raise the volume a bit. Yeah, so yeah, that's that. So no opinion is wrong. No opinion is wrong in this case because we don't have anything. When we don't have anything clear from the Quran and from the Prophet ﷺ, that's called ijtihad days. So scholars, they try to come to a conclusion based upon their their own sort of like research, and that the researches are considered to be valid in that sense. Some imams are saying that on the 12th May Allah will remove all viruses and there will be a star. Is this true? I don't know. I don't know if some imams are saying that, and I don't know what that means. I've never come across it. I hope so. I hope, forget the 12th. I hope the 1st of May everything gets cleared up. Are you allowed to watch Dragon Ball during Ramadan? Dragon Ball is a fighting anime. Yeah, you can watch it, but what I would say is try not to watch too much of it and preoccupy yourself with these kind of things. Try to read some Quran maybe. Try to do some learning as well. Yeah, learn education. Read some books. This is the kind of time to benefit from the isolation, you can say, right? How many books are you going to learn? How many books have you read so far? How many lessons have you taken in? There's so many things you can do online. You're learning Surah Mulk and Ayatul Kursi. Excellent, mashallah. Very good, excellent. Yeah, so this is a good time to learn about surahs and chapters. Okay, right. So anyway, so as you can see, I have put some new videos up, and yesterday I put one up about the reciting from the reciting whilst holding the Quran. So I did discuss that. What did you guys think of that one? Did you guys benefit from it? Would you like to see more of those kind of videos, explaining, commonly asked questions in that way? So that's what I've done, and I've got a few more. I'm actually making one at the moment on on the issue with regards to online. Some people saying, can you pray online or not? Right, so like imams in one part of the country and follows a different part. So I'm making one on that. But yeah, let me know if you guys think that kind of a format of answering these kind of questions or making some sort of illustrated explanation. Let me know what you guys think of that. You got a lot of books. Yes. Yeah, so a lot of books, a lot of reading, alhamdulillah. Should we pray 8 rakat Taraweeh home or 20? 20. I would say you pray 20. Although there are some people who say that you can pray 8, but majority of scholars say 20 is recommended. If you were to recommend 3 surahs to read from the Quran to a non-Muslim, which 3 would you say? To a non-Muslim, I would say Surah Fatiha, Surah Ikhlas, Qul Hu Allahu Ahad, and maybe something like, let me think. I don't know, maybe Surah Yasin, maybe. Ikhlas, Fatiha, and yeah, maybe Surah Yasin. I'm not sure. What would you say? I mean, it all depends on what kind of non-Muslim they are. Are they educated about Islam? Are they Christian? Are they Jew? Are they, atheist? It all depends on what kind of non-Muslim. Anisa Nouri, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Munir, Breaka, Ramadan Mubarak, Barakallahu feek, wa adkhalahu alayka bil khair wal yumni wal barakat. Ameen wa iyyak ya Munir. How is everything in Europe, Munir? Because we're not part of Europe anymore, are we? King Tan, Assalamu alaikum. Should I start with Arabic on your channel? There's so many like Ajurumiyya and other texts. What I would suggest, if you're beginning, I would suggest 17 lessons. So 17 lessons of Quranic Arabic, I think, is the best thing to start off with. And then after that, you can move on to other texts. Yeah, good view. Like the format. Yeah, alhamdulillah. And I think, imagine if a whole fiqh book or a whole sort of like something like Raddul Muhtar or maybe even like Badaya Sanaya, something like that could have been taught like that. Imagine some people get together and they make that. Maybe in the future, someone will get inspired by these ideas, and you can have a project and people can work on different books. Yasin, what's the best advice your parents ever gave you? Best advice my parents ever gave me. I don't know. There were loads of advice. Let me think. What kind of advice? Don't burn yourself. I think that was one of them when I used to light fires and stuff. That was the best advice. I didn't burn myself. So I don't know. It's a tough question. What's the best advice your parents gave you, Yasin? Zahid Malik, should we delay witr till after tahajjud or pray after Taraweeh with family as usual, keeping in mind the hadith of Prophet ﷺ? Yeah, so according to Hanafis, they say that witr in Ramadan, witr should be prayed in congregation if you're going to pray Taraweeh in congregation. And if you're not, then you can delay your witr until all the way later on at night time. I meant longer surahs. I would say Surah Ar-Rahman, Surah Ahzab, and Surah Yusuf. Yeah, okay, sounds good. Rahman. So why have we chosen these surahs? That's the question. My brother lives in Italy and the virus is decreasing. Meanwhile, in London, where the virus is increasing. Oh, may Allah give everyone in the world ease. King Tan, Jazakallah khair, you're welcome. Tim Group, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's Tim Group. Do you know me? Yes, I remember you. You are Abu. I don't remember now. Was it Abu Abdurrahman? Abu Abdurrahman, was it? Tamil? Are you fasting today? Yes, I am fasting today. Some people in the UK are going to be fasting tomorrow. I'm fasting today. Arabic studies. Sir, can we leave Taraweeh during lockdown? It's best not to. Yeah, it's best not to. It's always better to try to get closer to Allah. Yeah, so try to get closer to Allah. As much ibadah as you can. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever prays in the nights of Ramadan, Allah will forgive all of his sins. So this is a big virtue, this is. Fatal, can you go through all the different types of martyrs in a video? Good idea, actually. Good idea. Might be a good idea to do it in several videos rather than one video, because otherwise one video there's 59, and then let's say I take a minute to go through each one. That's 59 minutes days, and if it takes me 2 minutes, then it's about 2 hours. So it's gonna be quite long. Parents to always fear nifaq. Okay, that's a good one. That is. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Yeah, that's a good piece of advice. Always fear nifaq. Munir, everything is fine here despite the situation. Alhamdulillah. The fun. How many rakats do you pray for tahajjud, and when do you pray it? So you can pray as many as you like, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, and ideally you pray middle of the night or towards Fajr. I kindly request you to sit properly, Mufti. It will be beautiful for you. Sit properly. You know what? The chair is a bit difficult to sit on like that, so I do apologize. Assalamu alaikum, H Hussein, HVC. And this Friday thing is supposed to be formal as well, informal. Yeah, rather than the Saturday question answers. This is a bit informal, chilling out, relaxing. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. HVCFFGB. Where's a good place to study specialized Hanafi fiqh post Alimiya level? What are your thoughts on a Darul Karachi? It depends how much you've studied before. If you want to study like a very thorough, then I don't really know. I don't see. I can't really say anything about the madaris in Pakistan at the moment because I don't really know, because they're always changing the syllabuses. So I'm not really sure exactly how the syllabus at the moment is. Darul Karachi is very good, but again, one of the things that I found in madrasas was sometimes the best teacher wasn't teaching fiqh. The best teacher for fiqh wasn't always teaching it. Sometimes they choose the best one, but sometimes they weren't choosing the best one. So that's why I think, personally, I would say study it privately. The best thing to do is study it privately with someone who's an expert, or you can, Dr. Salah Abul Hajj in Jordan. He's actually got a whole thing, a summer thing that you can go to, and he covers a lot of the texts, Hanafi texts. You can go there. Okay. Abu Yusuf, Jazakallah khair. H Hussein, when you say Astaghfirullah, are all your sins forgiven? No. Not all your sins are forgiven. If you ask Allah for forgiveness and you remember in your mind which sins you're asking forgiveness for, that's when your sins are forgiven. But if you just say Astaghfirullah, your sins are not forgiven. You have to say in your mind, you have to feel bad about the sin that you've done. You've got to feel what they call remorse, basically. So there's got to be an element of remorse there. Olawali Bula Watifi. That name, bro, I said your name totally messed up. I do apologize. Other than reading the Quran more often, is there any other method to make me read the Quran much fluently? I just finished all your Quran lessons. Right, so what you need to do now, I would say, is try to listen to a Qari and try to read after him. And one of the best ones to follow, I would say, is Husari. So Sheikh Husari, you can get, I think online you can get these kind of Quran websites where ayah by ayah you can read and you can follow. So what I would suggest is listen to him, look at the words, and then try to follow. It might take you a bit of time, but after a while you start to get used to it. The other option is to get hold of a teacher and read to a teacher, and then he just corrects your mistakes. King Tan Sheikh, I can read Arabic, but what I don't is when I read the text, it takes a while to get it perfect. I try something new every day, but I need to find an efficient way. When I break it up, it's easier. Yeah. So again, same advice to you. What you need to do is listen to a Qari like Sheikh Husari. His name is Sheikh Husari, and he's very, very slow, and you can read with him, and that will, get you to apply what you've learned in the Quran better. Because Surah Rahman to ponder on the blessings that are all around you and where they originated from. Surah Ahzab explains how a messenger came to each nation, their actions and the consequences. Okay. Yeah, I get you. Muhammad Kapadia, Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Saying accidentally when one gets stuck in Taraweeh break namaz. There's a difference of opinion on this. I mean, so according to some of the Hanafis, if you say a sound which sounds like something which is part of the language, that would break. But if it's a sound which is not necessarily part of the language, then it won't break. Yeah, so these kind of sounds, I think, because it might just be something which people are, second nature used to. I think it won't break your salat because it's so quite common. King Tan takes a long time. Yeah, definitely. Searching a nomad during a lockdown curfew where Jummah is no longer prayed in the mosques. Is it permissible for family groups to pray Jummah in the home? There is a difference of opinion among scholars. Majority of the Hanafis, they say no. And the idea is because Jummah is meant to be like a public event, and it's not designed for it to be prayed privately in homes. So that's why the scholars have said that all you do is pray Dhuhr. So even in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, villages, they wouldn't have Jummah. They'd either come to Masjid Nabawi or they'd pray Dhuhr at home. Surah Yusuf, and a lot of the masjids actually do have a Jummah, but they have what they do is they have it for a select number of people just to keep the Jummahs going. MP Surah Yusuf shows the concept of being tested and having patience. Okay, yeah, definitely. Tirate, Assalamu alaikum Ustad. How are you and how is Ramadan? It's very different. Ramadan in Malaysia, yes, definitely over here as well. Very different. It's quite hot today, hot weather we have. And usually, Ramadan time, this time, weather, is a bit kind of cool, but this time it started off quite hot. So hopefully the weather should remain not too hot. I think today it's about 22, 23 degrees here. I can imagine Malaysia must be very hot. Yes, so it's very different. You don't have that kind of feeling of community as well in Ramadan. Okay. Whenever you come live on this time, I can attend your live. Always expecting your live. If you come live after Isha, it will be midnight for me, so I feel sad. Oh, sorry about that, brother. Sorry about that, Abu Yusuf. Sheikh Juhaini Tajweed is really clear to hear. Yeah, Sheikh Juhaini is good, but the thing is, Sheikh Hussein is very slow, and anyone can understand what he's reading. Please put a video separately on topic. Which concept is correct while seeing the crescent moon? Which concept do you know? As in, you mean which? Do we follow the local sighting, or is that what you're saying? Do you know Hindi, and do you know Hindi and Urdu are 75% similar while speaking but different in writing? Yes, that's a good point. That is. Usman Azhar, what are you supposed to do if a person leading the prayer accidentally does an extra rakat? So if he does an extra rakat, so basically what he should do at the end of the salat is he's supposed to do sajda sahu. Right, and if he doesn't, you notify him after the salat. Notify him, and then he'll have to repeat that prayer again. Abdul Rahman Patel, can a ma'adhur lead just Taraweeh? He has exams on eczema on his body. He says the eczema bleeds sometimes. So he can't lead. The problem according to Hanafis is that someone who is a ma'adhur, the imam's state has to either be equal or higher than the state of the people who are following. So if a person has a continuous bleeding, this is according to Hanafis, bleeding, then that person is exempted from repeating their wudu because of that illness. And therefore, they can pray themselves, and they can pray behind an imam, but they can't lead people who are healthy. According to the Shafi madhab, it would be allowed. Yeah, because according to Shafis, bleeding doesn't break your wudu. I'm sort of deficient in the knowledge of Islam in general, in terms of stories, the Prophet, Sunnah, etc. Please, do you have any ideas of how I could get access to all that knowledge? Yes, definitely. So, if you check out my YouTube videos, go to my YouTube channel. I've got various series. Go through them, Quran series, and you can follow them. And inshallah, that will start to build up your general understanding about Islam. MP, you could do a video on Jummah in the home, as it is common question. Yeah, actually, that's an excellent idea. Jummah in the home. Actually, let me make a note of that one. Yeah, I like these ideas. Jummah in the home. Yeah. Shah Hassan, any books recommended for balagha in the Quran? Some gems from the Quran? Yes. So if you want balagha from the Quran, there's several books on balagha from the Quran. I've actually done a whole series, 2 series on Ilm al-Balagha, just from the Quran on my uruk.com. So if you go to my uruk.com, you can register for those 2 courses, and it purely focuses on Balagha in the Quran. So it's 2 courses for that, Ilm al-Ma'ani, and then the second one is Ilm al-Badi and Bayan. If you want to read some books on there, then there's the books by Fadl Abbas, books by Dr. Abu Musa Muhammad, and books by Sheikh Fadl Samurai. These 3 people currently, their works are fabulous when it comes to Balagha in the Quran. If you want to go classically, then there's lots of books out there. The problem is the language is a barrier. Alright, so trying to overcome that language is something which students tend to find a bit difficult. Al-Jurjani's works on I'jaz al-Quran, that's a very good book. HK, what is the best translation of Subhanallah? Some say it means glory be to Allah, and others say it means free from. Yes, so Subhanallah literally means that it's what we call tasbih. Tasbih means to declare Allah is free of any defect. So for example, like sleeping is a defect, and tiredness is a defect, and weakness is a defect, and all these things, hunger, and all these things are defects. So Allah is free of all those. So when we say Subhanallah, what we're saying is all the defects that I know about myself and about other people and about the creation, about the universe, Allah is free of all of those. Alright, so that's what basically Subhanallah is indicating towards. I think that's what they tend to, when they're saying glory, as in they mean glory as in ultimate glory, no imperfection. Like words in the Quran series on this channel. Yeah, you can get some books on the words of the Quran, but again, they're like some classical ones. So you can get like so if you look in the description of those videos, I've actually put a link to some dictionaries there. If you click on those are some of the ones that I've been using. And tafsirs, you can use like Ruh al-Ma'ani, you can use Tahrir al-Tanweer. These kind of like tackle the meanings of the words. TI, does anyone else have a headache today? Not me. Fatal, do you have to follow a madhab, or can you take from which you like? So I've actually done a whole series on this three-part series. Watch that. It's clarified a lot of the issues. What I would say is the same question can be, can I take any tablets I want when I get ill, or should I follow a doctor? That's basically. So check that out, inshallah. And then if you have questions, then I'll answer those. Hindi, मैं इंडिया से आ रहा हूँ. Can you understand the above content in Urdu? जी, मुझे खूब समझ में आ रहा है. Okay, S. Hussein. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. S. Hussein. H. Hussein. What is ma'zur? Ma'zur is basically a person who is continuously breaking their wudu because of a medical illness and cannot hold their wudu for the entire salat. So then this person has special rules that apply to them. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned that all they have to do is perform wudu for every salat, and then that's fine. Even if that particular issue is still continuous with them, it'll be fine. Why now? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So this superiority of the Imam is not just in terms of knowledge. Yes, so it's to do with, I mean, the Imam does not have to be superior in knowledge, but he has to be superior in his performance of the salat. Yeah, so if there's a person, for example, like who cannot do ruku and sujud, he does ishara basically. He cannot lead a person who can do ruku and sujud, because technically the state of the two is different. Muhammad, what would be your advice to someone who just became a doctor and finally has around 3 months to work on his Deen and Quran recitation? What I would suggest is he should try to maybe do like a crash course. So there are some places, I mean, it depends where he can go. So he can maybe go to something like Cambridge Muslim College. They have like a 1-year program, but maybe, I don't know, maybe he can speak to them and see if he can get a shorter program. And Cambridge Muslim College, and then you have I think it's Oxford, one in Oxford as well, and Salam Institute. I think they have these kind of like crash courses for professionals to be able to get an understanding of Deen. I'll only have one Hafiz leading Taraweeh. Can someone in congregation hold Quran to listen to mistakes under current circumstances? Possibly, yes, possibly. I mean, according to Hanafis, if a Hafiz was to have a Quran in front of him, like I've done it, if you watch the video that I made yesterday, watch that, I've explained it in there. That if a Hafiz is actually allowed to have a Quran in front of him, he doesn't read from the Quran, but he can follow it, and if he makes a mistake, then he can correct himself. Yeah, that's possible. Yasin, could you explain why you've started fasting today in the UK? Is it following Saudi? Yes. So basically, I mean, a lot of our masjids, they have been following Saudi from like the 1980s, and this is something which is from our local masjid. Most of our local masjids around my area where I live, they follow that. So for me, it's more practical to fast in whatever my local masjid decides. So it's not like I follow Saudi in that sense, that I'm looking for Saudi. It's whatever my local masjid. If my local masjid was to decide next year that they want to follow the UK sighting, then I'd follow them. Yeah. So it's all a matter of local, my relatives, my family who are living in the local area. Crypto M, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, blessed journey. Should a person pray witr jama'ah in the last portion of the night? If should be prayed immediately after the Taraweeh, after the last Taraweeh. So if you're going to pray Taraweeh with congregation, then you pray the witr after the Taraweeh in the congregation. If you're going to pray on your own, then you can delay the witr to the latter part of the night. Omar Vich, I like your Quran explanation and how to read Quran well explained. May Allah bless you. I just discovered it. Jazakallah khair, Omar. Thank you very much for your kind words. May Allah bless you as well. Crypto M, what is the ruling on Taraweeh? Do we have to read all 20 rakats? Can you include the Isha Sunnahs into Taraweeh dual intention? I mean, the idea in Ramadan is, I always say this, is to do as much worship as you can. Right? So it's not, I would say try not to cut corners. Yeah, and nowadays it's very easy to do Taraweeh. I mean, I prayed Taraweeh at home, and I was able to do the whole Taraweeh. And I mean, like I told you guys, I mean, on this issue, I actually read from a Quran, right? So I had an iPad in front of me on the side, and I read from that. And I know it's not the Hanafi position on this, but like I told you before, I'm not going to be imposing this on you guys, but that's what I did. So I had the Quran in front of me, the iPad in front of me on a stand, and I read, alhamdulillah, one whole juz of the Quran, and I read it in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, the whole thing, yeah, with Isha, with the Sunnahs, with the witr as well. Alhamdulillah, I was able to get through it, and yes, I mean, I didn't find it difficult. So personally, I don't. If a person doesn't pray the Taraweeh, they're going to be sinful for it. All right, that's the thing. They're not going to be sinful for it. But the question is that the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba used to do this, as in used to like they say, give life to the night. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever prays in the nights of Ramadan, Allah will forgive all of his sins. So this is also something that I think we should kind of like take into consideration as well, right? We should be a bit more sort of like conscious about our spirituality in Ramadan. And the best way to get close to Allah in Ramadan is Quran. There's nothing that can reach the level of Quran. How and why madhabs became very regional. So one of the main, so there's a guy called Sheikh I think it's Ismail Basha. So he's written a book on the geographical, it's in Arabic, the geographical location of the madhahib. And he says that one of the main reasons why the madhahib became so geographically located was because of the governments in the past adopting certain madhabs as a governmental madhab. Yeah, so that's one of the main reasons. Is it okay for Hanafi to hold a Quran app but not read fully from it but use it as a reference to check one or two mistakes during Taraweeh? Yeah, for a Hafiz, there'd be scope for that. For a Hafiz, there would be permissibility. Muhammad, what if he wants to stay in Birmingham during these months? I don't know really. I mean, I don't know if there's anywhere in Birmingham that has designed a course for people, like that. I mean, he can join maybe a Sufa, some of the courses they do, but they have fixed terms. That's the problem. So it all depends upon what his terms are. In Holding the Quran video, you said Imam Yusuf, Imam Muhammad say it resembles non-Muslims, how they don't have a prayer like Salah, in which well, if you look at the Jews, that's how they pray. So if you've ever been to Masjid al-Aqsa, you've been to like the Burak wall, or they call it the Wailing Wall, that's how they pray. So they'll have a book in their hand and they're reading from the book and they're doing their worship. So this is why there is this sort of like, in the past there was Muslims didn't used to hold Qurans in the past, because like Qurans were like very big, like really big Qurans were. If you look at like in museums, the Mus'haf of Uthman radiallahu anhu, massive, right? You know, you had 2 or 3 people to pick it up fully, so people would have like pages. So this is why it was considered to be more, if someone saw it, their mind would go towards the Ahl Kitab more than the, yeah. So they kind of do have a prayer like ours, but it's not fully like ours. So they pray 3 times a day. They have a form of like sujood that they do. Munir Breaker, have you ever went to Cambridge Central Mosque? No, I haven't been, but I would like to go. Inshallah, maybe when COVID's over, I can take my camera, go there, do a vlog there, maybe check it out. But I've seen a lot of good reviews about the place. QA, can you read Taraweeh with 2 people and read short surahs? Yes, definitely you can do that. Mushu man, wa alaikum assalam. With lockdown, can we do Ishraq prayer at home and get reward if we pray in Jama'ah with family? As far as I know, one can only do Ishraq at the mosque. Not necessarily, I mean, you can do Ishraq at home as well. The idea of Ishraq, the Prophet ﷺ used to do Ishraq, as in, obviously, in the masjid, but that a person can do it anywhere. It's like, it's not a salat which is restricted to masjid, so you can do it anywhere. White Elephant, good morning. Ahlan wa sahlan, welcome, my Christian brother. I can't be here very long, so I might leave soon. What can I do for someone with depression? I mean, that's a very good question, guys. I mean, Islam really hasn't given a specific. What I would say is, from my own experience with doctors and people who have said about this, is to try and always keep the mood positive around them. Try and keep the mood positive around them. You know, take them out for food, maybe do things that they enjoy. You know, that's the main sort of thing. Try to get them to not stay isolated from everyone else, which is difficult in these days. How do we pray the Eid prayer at home? So there's no Eid prayer. There's no Eid prayer at home. Yasin, is having a nikah ceremony over the phone video call valid in the Hanafi method? So this is a good question. This is to do with the basic idea of majlis. Now, because classically the scholars understood that majlis is somewhere where people gather, like a physical gathering. That's why the Hanafi books, you know, have sort of like, you know, verbatim said the same thing. It has to be, you know, in the same location, or there has to be some sort of like, you know, correspondence through letters, and then the ijab and qabul has to be in the same location. So I mean, that's why they've kind of come out with sort of like ways to overcome this. And one of the ways is basically, let's say one person's in Australia and one person's in America. A lady's in Australia, a man's in America. The lady gets someone, phones someone over in America to be her, what we call the wakil, the agent, and then the agent is there with the groom, and he basically on her behalf he does the whole thing. So that's possible. That would be like the other way around it. I know there are some Hanafis, very few some Hanafis, who have said that majlis, according to as long as there is no discrepancy, there is no obscurity, there is no dubiousness in the ceremony, and they 100% know that the person they're speaking to on the other side of the call is that particular person, and the witnesses can hear, then some have said that's valid. So I think this masla actually requires some sort of like, what do you call it? Some sort of like scholars to come together to sort of revise this position in light of modern day technology. There's lots of masail, I think, in today's times that need to be revised in light of modern day developments. And this may be one of them. Why worry about rituals but not about the spirit that acts the worship? I just pray whatever I can with the present mind. 2 rakats, good. Okay. Why now? Ahmad Shamsi, The Canonization of Islamic Law is an excellent book to understand the development of madhabs, and he touches on his present. Crypto M, what Have you come across the Maqdas Quran? It's a literal translation of each word underneath the text. Would you recommend it? I haven't seen. No, I haven't seen. I'll have to see it to be able to say. So it looks quite interesting. Yeah, it looks quite interesting. QA, can you read a Jama'ah with wife with heel in front, or does she have to be directly behind? So according to Hanafis, her foot has to be behind yours. So as long as her foot is behind yours, as long as she is slightly behind you, that's fine. Yeah, in other words, the foot cannot be in front of you. So yes, as long as the heels are behind, it'll be fine. Okay, Naeem Anthony. Assalamu alaikum, Ustad. Do you know a book that explains hadith terms? Yes, there are many books. If you Google it, just write down terms of hadith or terminology of hadith, something like that. You'll come across lots of resources for that. Yeah, I don't know any specific sort of like book in English that tackles this. I haven't really made any videos on this at the moment, but I am thinking about making a series on Usul Hadith. White Elephant, you're welcome, White Elephant. Muhammad Rahman, can you recommend anyone in Birmingham who can interpret dreams? I cannot. I don't know anyone. White Elephant, I need to go to work right now. Thank you very much and have a good day, brother. You're welcome. You have a good day as well. Mubashir Zaman, Assalamu alaikum. Just to be clear, is a Hafiz allowed to turn pages of the Quran if they have the Quran in front of them according to Hanafic? No, they can't turn the pages in the Salat. So turning the pages in Salat according to Abu Hanifa will be considered to be Amal Kathir, right? If they are turning pages. If, for example, they had like a device in the hand, and that device they were just flicking it, or they had something on a stand and they just flicked it, and it doesn't seem as though it was excessive actions, then maybe that would be okay. Fatal, what scholars do ikhtilaf, the region ones or the wali ones? What scholars do ikhtilaf? So ikhtilaf basically means like for example, Imam Malik and Abu Hanifa were very famous for saying that global sighting is sufficient. If one sighting is seen anywhere in the whole earth, then anyone on earth, even if they don't see it in their locality, can follow that sighting. This is known as the global sighting. And the other position of scholars was that you follow a local sighting. A local sighting means that anyone in a particular country or location, they fast if they see the moon. And if they don't see the moon, they don't fast. Right? So that's basically the ikhtilaf. What is your opinion on taking a mortgage in the UK? Most of them I know take mortgages. Is this okay? So if taking the mortgage is not allowed because it's interest, and you're going into an interest sort of deal according to majority of scholars. But if a person has no other means, or rent is long term, it's not something feasible for that person, then I would say that person can take the mortgage for their own home, right? So for their own home that they're going to live in, they can take it. Allah knows best. Mufti Sahab, you encourage your students a lot to reflect on the surahs, and you differentiate between reflection and doing tafsir of the surahs. Can you please explain that a bit more? Yes. So basically tafsir, right? Tafsir is when a scholar looks at the verse of the Quran and tries to understand what Islam means by this. Like, what does Allah mean by this? Does that make sense? So for example, like in the Quran, Allah says something like yuqimuna salata, they establish prayer. What does Allah mean by this? So what Allah means by this, it requires a person to understand Arabic, to know exactly how the Prophet ﷺ understood this verse, or the Sahaba, or the early generation. That's basically what tafsir means. So tafsir is kind of like saying this is what Allah means. So if you take any verse in the Quran and you say this is what Allah means by this, that's a tafsir. That is. Not everyone can do this. You have to be very skilled at this. However, reflection is simply where you know what the Mufassirin have said, you know what the translation has said, but then all you do is like reflect on it in your life. So for example, like yuqimuna salat means establish prayer. Then you think about what's the importance of establishing prayer? Why do we establish prayer for? How do we establish prayer in our community? How does it impact our hearts? How does all that kind of stuff? So I give the example of the difference between the two is like a person who has a mirror. So let's say there's a broken mirror in a box. and someone says to put it together, and you don't know what the mirror looked like, you can't put it together. You're going to make loads of mistakes. You're going to cut yourself and damage. But an expert, he'd know the mirror. He knows exactly where the pieces go. He puts them all together and glues them all together and says, this is what the mirror looks like. So that's called tafsir. Reflection is more of looking into the mirror and then looking at your world, looking at yourself, looking at other things. That would be more of a reflection, I'd say. Yasin, what do you have for suhoor and iftar? So for suhoor, I usually have a bowl of porridge. Maybe I might have like some dates with that, some water, and that's it. Just have a bowl of porridge, thick porridge. And that, I don't know how you guys make porridge, but I make porridge the Scottish way, which is basically you get water, you put a little bit of water in, yeah, you add oats, so you heat it up, you add the oats into the water, you let the oats boil, and then you add a little bit of milk, just maybe like a little bit, like, you know, maybe a quarter or, you know, something like a cup of milk in, and then you just let it simmer, and then you let it cool down, and then you eat it up. So sometimes in suhoor, what I do is, you know, like these nuts and these sort of like different things that help with fiber, because what's going to happen after a few days is your fiber intake will decrease. You're going to find it difficult to go toilet, constipation, also drying up as well. So you need to eat something which is going to keep your body sort of like nourished. So you need to kind of find the right balance. So you know, the right kind of seeds, chia seeds, eat those. And there's some, you know, other kind of like things that you can eat as well. Nuts, yeah, regularly eat nuts, and bananas with it as well. So basically the whole idea of the porridge is it kind of like, it sustains you throughout the day for as long as you can, so you don't get hungry. Because what's going to happen now is when you start fasting, is everything that your body has stored up is going to start eating it away, eating away, eating away, eating away. And then after day 1, you're not going to feel it. Day 2, slowly you're going to feel it. 3, 4, day 5, definitely you're going to feel it. Right, so that's why you need to have a balanced diet. Stay away from fried foods. Iftar, I try to stay away from fried foods as much as possible, unless I'm going for a dawah somewhere, you know, and this year won't be the case, but sometimes, you know, I go to a mosque or something and they have fried food there. So trying to say fried food is probably the worst for a fasting person. It dries your mouth out and it makes you feel very like greasy inside. Yeah, so that kind of stuff, just stay away from that. Cool, drink like cooling things, I would say. I don't know, Yasin, what do you eat? What's your regime? What's your normal? Why now? Can your personal reflections be wrong? Not necessarily. I mean, you're not kind of interpreting what the ayah is saying. Like, for example, let's say, someone reads Surah Yusuf, and in Surah Yusuf sees about the brothers, you know, ganging up against Yusuf alayhi salam. And you think this, you reflect on that, and you think, look how society is. Society will maybe, you know, the strong will devour the weak. That's a reflection, that is. So reflection, I would say, I remember asking my teacher this one day, Sheikh Farouk. I asked him, and he said to us that, you know, you should reflect on the Quran. When you read the Quran, ponder over some of the verses that you go over. So I did mention this to him, and he said to me that if you've studied Arabic and you understand the Arabic and you've understood, you know, a good amount of Islamic sciences, your reflections can't be wrong. As in, your reflections are always going to be within what you've learnt. Yeah, you're not attempting to do tafsir. You're not like reinterpreting what that verse means. How big of an action nullifies prayer? So this, according to Hanafis, this is a different issue. So if it's an action which is for your rectification of your prayer, like for example, let's say, you know, you're coughing and sneezing and you need to take a tissue out to clean your nose, that is an action, but it won't nullify your prayer. But if it's something which is, there's no need for it, and a person does this, so for example, like just a person just standing there and just starts to, you know, pick something up and then starts putting it down, or starts to play with their phone, that would nullify, because that seems to be something which is unnecessary in your salat, and it's going against the idea of standing in front of Almighty Allah. Like, how dare you stand in front of Allah and you're playing with all these things? Your salat is broken. Ahmad Aslam Khan, wa alaikum assalam. Is it permissible to pray Taraweeh prayer in congregation where Imam is leading prayer live on TV? Jazakallah khair. So if they are in the same location, like in the same area, right, same building, you can say, then yes, it's possible. But otherwise, no, it wouldn't be allowed. This is the majority opinion of scholars, and there's a whole wisdom behind. I'm at the moment making a video on this idea of online prayer, but there's a whole wisdom behind why Allah has instructed us to build masjids and keep the masjids occupied, right? Because of this whole idea of community coming together, and this whole idea of distant community, the online community, that is not what that doesn't replace masjids, right? That will not replace masjids. So therefore, praying like this is something which the scholars have said that this is something majority of them say is not allowed, right? Because there is no concept of jama'ah. Aisha Rabat, wa alaikum assalam. Hope you're well. If Allah's name is written in English, is that method? Is there that method of disposing the same as when it's written in Arabic? Also, the method of disposing of the Prophet's names too. Yes, I mean, I would say, look, it all goes down to the idea of number one is how much hardship is it going to give you, difficulty is going to give you. So, for example, if you have a newspaper and it's got the name Allah in there, Abdullah in there, right? And then if Abdullah's name comes in that newspaper 20 times, it's going to be very difficult to kind of find all those newspapers. And so if it's hard, then just dispose of it in a normal way. If it's just something written on a piece of card somewhere like that, then what I would personally say is try to dispose of it in a clean place. Put it into a bag or something, and maybe dispose of it in a clean place in the bin, right? Make sure it's clean. And if you want to burn it or you want to put it in the ground, then you can do that. Khan Gok, oh, happy Ramadan to you as well, my brother. Naz Mubarak, are you planning to post a part 2 of Intro to Usul Fiqh crash course? Yes, I'm planning to do it, but the only thing is I'm trying to think exactly how I'm going to do it so that people who don't know much Usul will benefit, and people who know Usul will also benefit. So I've got some ideas in my head. I've sketched them down. But the thing is, it's all about the idea of presenting it so you want people to benefit. That's my aim of these videos. That's why I don't kind of like doing videos which are too complex. So too complex videos or topics, I try to avoid them because I think it's just going to confuse a lot of people. And there might be just 10% of people who'll understand it. And I don't really like doing that. Superfoods, yes, definitely superfoods. I mix chia seeds with my porridge. Yes, chia seeds with porridge. These kind of things, very good. And the other thing is, what you're gonna need after about 5 or 6 days is you're gonna need what's it called? Fiber gel. Yeah. So in other words, fiber gel is gonna be very important. Because it helps with your digestion, right? So digestion of the food and movement of the bowels. It helps with that. Luke, what can you do for a Ramadan if you are revert and you are living in your parents' house who are not Muslim? So Luke, what I would suggest to you is, my brother, is keep contact with Muslims online. Keep contact with them. Maybe you can Skype them regularly now and again. Maybe ask them if they're going to pray, if they can put it on online for you, and try to keep some sort of interaction with them. And that way you'll fill in that sort of void in your life. So you got to avoid. I know it's going to be difficult for you because especially with your family eating and family doing all these kind of things, which doesn't really help a fasting person. That's one thing to do, right? So you have this connection. The second thing to do is try to learn as much Islam as you can. Try to use the opportunity to maybe read some books or maybe even take some lessons online if you can. That's the kind of thing I would say. And just keep healthy. Main thing is just keep healthy. Make sure you don't get a big belly. On Ramadan you shouldn't get a big belly anyway. But okay, Ammar, what stand do you use to read? What stand to use to read Quran in Salah? What stand? I don't understand what stand. How did you break the juz? Did you read it in one rakat? So what I done basically was, the Quran that has 15 lines, the Saudi one, 15 lines. So every juz has 20 sides. So if you actually read one side in every rakat, so 20 rakats, in every rakat just read one and the other one, and then when you finish your salat flip the page over, and then one and the other one like that. You can actually do the whole juz like that. Shah Hassan, Ilm Ma'ani versus Badi and Bayan. In short, I'm an advanced student in Arabic and want to collect these gems and embark on the adventure this Ramadan. Which one to start that has biggest gems? So I mean, what I would suggest is like this. Imagine like a house. Imagine that you entered a massive palace, right? A big, massive palace. Now, if you want to kind of enjoy the beauty of the decoration in the palace, the carpets and the ornaments and the, the lighting and the curtains and the furniture, then badi and bayan is very good for that. That's what badi and bayan actually are. They're known as the beautification sciences of balagha. They kind of give you the beauty of the language itself. So it's like very impressive on the outward. But if you want to know the architecture of the building, you want to know the foundations, you want to know how the roof has been shaped and how the pillars have been aligned and why this has been used and not this pillar, then ilmul ma'ani is perfect for that. Ilmul ma'ani is more to do with the grammar. It's more linked in with grammar, right? You see the beauty of mubtada, khabars, fi'ls, files, the hasar, illa, sifa, mawsoofs, all this kind of stuff. So that's why I'd say there's a difference between the two. In a nutshell. Lots of new people here today, mashallah. Yeah, definitely lots of new. And the other thing was the live stream. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do for the live stream question and answers. I'm thinking maybe Saturdays. It's going to be maybe around about 5ish, maybe 5 to 6. It'll only be 1 hour. What do you guys think? And I'm just going to do selected questions. And as soon as the hour finishes, khalas, as the live stream is going to turn off. And I do apologize if I can't answer all your questions. And that's how it's going to work. So I'm thinking that's how I'm going to have to do it. And I was thinking of even doing tafsir, right? So maybe Surah Yasin in detail, going through it. I did it in the past as well, but I think I haven't done it on my channel like this. So I think for that's something which I'll have to maybe think about. Can you recommend a good easy assignment title for fixed studying at Hidayah level? Yes. So what you can maybe kind of do in Hidayah is investigate how Imam Hidayah he brings evidences for from the Quran from a usuli point, right? So for example, maybe in tayammum, the issue with regards to the concept of doing tayammum with pure earth, and it looks at it from a Quran point of view, right? How the Quran brings it. So that might be a good idea. So you go through Hidayah and collect as many masail as you can of where Imam Hidayah uses a Quran reference and how he uses it. Can you do a detailed video on Hanafi madhab view of Nabid? Some people say you can drink alcohol not made from dates and grapes as long as you don't get drunk. Yeah, good idea. Yeah, that'd be the only problem I have with these kind of videos is because, see, the concept of drinks in Hanafi fiqh, it requires people to understand the culture of drinks, as in how the culture used to use drinks in them days, whether it's alcoholic drinks or non-alcoholic drinks. So a lot of people, they have no idea when they study Hanafi fiqh, for example, they have no idea of drinks, as in they have no idea of what classical understanding of Arabic drinks were. So that's why it gets confusing when they say things like, oh, alcohol is haram in Islam, and can we have alcohol? Do we have to have made from grapes and dates and stuff like that? So I think that's where it becomes difficult to be able to digest these kind of masail. So I mean, it'd be a good idea to do a video on that. But I'm just thinking exactly how I'm going to explain the types of drinks, because you have these kind of drinks called the muthallath, the muthallath drink, and then you have the drink which is called munassaf drink, and then you have the ما قذف بالزبد, and then ما نقع ما نقع. So these kind of drinks that you have, they are very sort of subtly different from one another. Unless, I mean, what I can possibly do is in the future, maybe if I can make a video showing how these drinks are made, and then showing their counterparts that you can find in the supermarkets, so that it becomes easier for people to understand. Otherwise, just theoretically just showing these kind of drinks, I think a lot of people will still be baffled by what the difference between each one is. Naeem, wa alaikum assalam. I'm doing your basic course, learn how to read Arabic. MashaAllah, Naeem. Ahlan wa sahlan. How are you finding the course, Naeem? Nahiduddin, wa alaikum assalam. Can you touch upon the moon sighting issue, i.e., one sighting suffices for all according to Hanafiya, etc.? Yeah, so I mean, I mentioned this earlier on. I don't know if you were here in the beginning of the live stream. You might have to just watch it again. But yes, so the idea of the There's two positions. One is the global sighting is sufficient for everyone. Anyone can follow the global sighting wherever it's seen on the earth, whether it's seen in Saudi or Australia or Indonesia, anywhere around the world, it suffices. And the other one is that no, it should be localized. Erdberchen, brother, I'm saying your name totally messed up. How many rakats Taraweeh are we supposed to pray according to the Hanafi school? According to the Hanafi school, 20. So 20 rakats of Taraweeh. Yes, please do some tafsir. Yes, inshallah. I'm thinking of doing tafsir of Surah Yasin, unless there's any other recommendations. Because last year I remember I started Surah Mulk, and I did most of it. Then I did some of it in Masjid Al-Aqsa. But this time I'm thinking of doing maybe another surah. What Quran stand do you recommend to use whilst Taraweeh prayer? I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I use my what's it? The cover that comes with the Apple phone, what do you call it? iPad. And this just stands on its own, so I can actually just stand it like that on just like a table or something, high table. So I don't really have any recommendations, but if you can have some sort of like a stand where maybe you can put some books behind it or something, I don't know. It depends. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kayfa haluka? Ana bi khair, alhamdulillah. Ramadan Mubarak. ادعو لي من فضلك اللهم بارك لي ولجميع الحاضرين اليوم. FIFA, some scholars seem to exaggerate ijma. For example, people say that there is ijma on 20 rakats. Is there ijma on issues like this for Taraweeh? So when it comes to the concept of ijma is a very broad concept, right? So we know, for example, like ijma is something which is part of our teachings, right? So we know that from the times of Sahaba, Tabi'een. So ijma is the majority of the scholars who are considered to be acceptable in ijtihad, they accept ijma. And as for example, like the loose usage of ijma, but then there's varying degrees of ijma. So like a staircase of ijma. So some ijma is categorical. If a person denies that's the same as denying a verse of the Quran. They can be out of Islam. And then there's degrees that are less than that. So I think what tends to happen, if someone hasn't studied in usul fiqh the concept of ijma, they tend to see ijma as being black and white. So it's either there is ijma on this matter or there's no ijma on this matter. And I think that's where it kind of becomes a bit confusing to a lot of people. So when it comes to the 20 rakats, what they say basically is that when Umar radiallahu anhu he set up the congregation for the Taraweeh, it's a Sahih Bukhari narration, and he had Ubay ibn Ka'b leading the men, and he had Tamim al-Dari leading the women. The narrations mention that it was 20 rakats, and we don't find any of the Sahaba sort of refuting this, and many of the later scholars have said that there has been a unanimous sort of agreement of the 20. Now this does not necessarily mean that if a person was to pray less than 20, that person is sinful. It just means that we don't have record of Sahaba refuting Umar on this issue. And when a person doesn't refute the early khulafa, that shows that matter is considered to be like an import. Like for example, the adhan of Uthman radiallahu anhu, the first adhan of Jum'ah which he introduced, because there only used to be one adhan and one in front of the muazzin on the day of Jum'ah, and the muazzin would give the adhan and the khutbah would start. But then Uthman introduced another adhan early before that in the markets, so people could get chance to close their shops and come to the masjid and get there for the khutbah. Yeah, so we don't find any of the early scholars kind of like refuting this, saying that Uthman did wrong or we don't accept this. So that's why it's like a unanimous agreement now. 95 grade, Ameen MP, 4:05 p.m. for live stream, inshallah. Have you heard of Sheikh Salman Nasir? Yes, I know him. He is doing advanced Quran course online this Ramadan. Yes, definitely. I would suggest for people who have the chance, go and join it. Definitely. Sheikh Yasser has a good video on Taraweeh on Hanafi channel. Hamza S. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Marhaban. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. So yeah. So that's basically, that's basically, I think, live stream for today. I think I'll stop there. So Jazakumullah khair, guys. Just keep an eye out on my social media for live stream tomorrow. If there is going to be a live stream, it's going to be around about 5 o'clock, about 5ish, maybe just for an hour. And if there is a Quran, if I do the Quran one, then it's going to be on Sundays, which is going to be about roughly maybe afternoon. I'm thinking afternoon time. Yeah, maybe about afternoonish time, about 2ish maybe, something like that. Trying to keep it like so that people who have to make preparations for iftar, they can catch up as well. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Oh, the other thing is, what I'm going to be starting, inshallah, I'm going to be starting a podcast. So some of you guys have been keep telling me podcast. So inshallah, I'm going to hopefully try it today. I'm going to try and test podcast. Right, so I'm going to get a few guys. And we're going to try and do on Mondays and Thursdays around about 6ish. Right, so it's going to be a podcast for about 40 to 45 minutes or so. We're just going to be discussing different things, hopefully, on there. So I'm just trying to get the technical side of it sorted out, so the logistics, getting the program running, and hopefully getting it to work, the sound working as well. Once I have that, hopefully, then inshallah there'll be a podcast in Ramadan, at least Mondays and Thursdays, and we'll be discussing different topics, and maybe you guys can join in as well, and maybe, I don't know, maybe we can get some of you guys to come in and sit on the podcast team. Okay, guys. People reading from a mushaf. If a person in the third or fourth rakat reads a surah after Fatiha, does he have to give extra sajda? No. According to the Hanafis, no. Waheed, wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. Waheed, mashallah, ahlan wa sahlan. 5 rule. Naeem, shukran. May Allah accept your work. Ameen, jazakallah khair. 5 p.m. is a good time for Q&A. Naeem Anthony, and put barakah in your time and effort. Ameen, jazakallah khair. Let's see what happened to Liaquat 2.0. Oh yeah, so he's gonna come inshallah. Yeah, don't worry, he's gonna come, hopefully. He's just on a little break. Yeah, Ramadan starting inshallah. So don't worry, he's not locked away with the shaitans. He's free, inshallah. So inshallah he's gonna be coming as well. And yeah, that's it. So jazakallah khair, guys. If the person did the extra sajda, will his sajda be valid? Yes, it'll be valid. Right. So the sahu will not break your salat. Right. So jazakallah khair, guys. Take care, inshallah. And if you are fasting today, I hope you guys remember me in your du'as and the ummah as well. And if you're going to fast tomorrow, then inshallah tomorrow as well. May Allah make your Taraweehs easy for you guys. And by the way, what is your tartib? Put it in the comments. What's your tartib for Taraweeh? What do you guys do for Taraweeh? Do you pray in congregation at home? Do you pray alone at home? Do you read from a Quran? Do you read whatever surahs you memorized? What do you guys do? We will secretly ask Allah for dua. You don't have to secretly ask Allah. You can publicly ask Allah as well. It's totally fine. Waheed, jazakallah khair, Shah. Waheed, Ustad, what is the Hanafi view on people doing 3rd, 10th, 40th and yearly death anniversary for people who passed away? So this idea of doing some sort of like a celebration or maybe even like a remembrance on particular days, there's no like evidence in the fiqh or in the sharia that this is something which is part of our religion. If a person does it just because it's like some sort of like a practice that people have and they don't believe it to be part of Islam, then there won't be a problem with it. But if people assume that this is something part of Islam and if they don't do it there's going to be sin attached to it or people feel bad or something like that, then people should not do it. Right? So this idea of 3rd day and 10 day and 40 day and yearly, there's no evidence in Islam that this is recommended from the Prophet ﷺ or from the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, and that's who we follow, right? The early generations. But if it's just like a community practice, then there's nothing wrong with it as long as they don't believe it to be rewarding or punishable, etc. So jazakallah khair, guys. Thank you very much. And did you guys enjoy like the camera this time? So this is a 4K camera I'm using this time. Now the image isn't 4K quality because I don't know, live stream doesn't really come out as 4K for some reason. It still comes out as a 720 or 1080. This channel filled the gap in YouTube and especially in this lockdown. Jazakallah khair, alhamdulillah, and I hope make dua inshallah that Allah gives me tawfiq to be able to make videos, and inshallah hopefully I'm going to be trying to put up some videos on some hadith as well, right? So there's a 40 collection of Mullah Ali Qari inshallah. Yeah, so I'm going to be hopefully putting videos of this up as well, like I do with the drawing ones, right? And I'm thinking about, I haven't really decided yet, but might be looking into this. So this is a book I just found I had, Balagh al-Wadiha. It's a very nice copy, and I'm thinking maybe I might just go through it and just like briefly answer, explain. For those people who keep saying to me, we've studied Balagha but we find it difficult, right? So I'm thinking about doing that hopefully. So Jazakallah khair. I wish there was me times 10. I wish I could make loads of videos and do like loads of stuff, right? But unfortunately there's only one me. Yeah, and hopefully inshallah, you know, I'll inspire other people in the world and they can make YouTube channels and they can also hopefully start good content as well and provide benefit for people as well, inshallah. That's the general, the honest hope of this channel, right? Which is not to monopolize on everything and that only this channel provides the best tafsir or the best Quran or the best. No, that's not the idea. The idea is to make this like a kind of like a sort of like a beacon of light. Yeah, so it's like a flag bearer for other channels so that we get inspiration and that people can start making good quality content that people can trust and rely upon, inshallah. Ameen. Jazakumullah khair. May Allah give you the strength of 10 people. Allahu Akbar. Yeah, Allah give me strength of 10 people so I can pick up a car when I need to. Jazakallah khair, Shah, mashallah, Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Ameen. Alright guys, so take care inshallah. Enjoy your day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.